Do you want to know what I watched this week, Jacob?
Not really. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm Jake, your co-host, and Charlie's here as well. He's your host.
I'm the host. I'm supposed to do the intro. I was going to talk about Wednesday, but Jake doesn't want to hear about it. He is too excited to talk about the pitch that he has.
I just thought it'd be funny to just completely dismiss
Yeah,
you.
just dismissal.
Yeah.
Wednesday's pretty good. You should watch it.
I know. I watched the first 2 episodes with you.
Yeah. I watched the remaining 6 episodes. It's all right.
Oh, look at you. You just said it was pretty good, and then you said it was all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the first 2 episodes are pretty good. Second 2 episodes are pretty good. The final 2 episodes are all right.
Okay.
It's a coincidence that all the episodes that are pretty good and to even great are directed by Tim Burton, and the final 2 episodes are not.
Oh.
But they are making a season 2.
Wow.
So let's see all the adventures that Wednesday Addams gets up into when she's at Nevermore Academy.
Yep.
But first we gotta learn about Jake's new characters and show.
My pitch, my show.
Your
well,
show.
I got 2 title ideas. I think I'm gonna go with Shoot Me Last.
I like that.
But
That's
the other
good.
idea was Gore Sport. I like Shoot Me Last better because it's more like
It's a command. I like it. It's like you're getting the audience's attention by yelling at them. You know?
Shoot Me Last.
Shoot me last. Like, don't forget to bribe the refs.
Yep, that's kind of in the same vein.
Yeah. It also helps that I'm looking directly at the thumbnail for that episode.
Okay. Well, Shoot Me Last. Essentially, this is it's not so distant future dystopian Canada. It's dystopian because it's a world where prisoners, if you're sentenced to life, you may be put into the Coliseum. It's called the Coliseum. That's the name of the game. It's essentially this primetime big, everyone watches sport-like thing, right? Mm-hmm.
It's the World
everyone's
Cup.
excited for Sunday night football or when you're watching soccer on the weekends or whatever. This is like the big sporting event, right?
All right.
Happens every weekend or every week. It's like a 24-hour live stream. But what it is 50 prisoners duking it out in it's different sort of games every time, but this season and the first season of this show is 50 prisoners in like a wintry wilderness surviving and also trying to kill each other.
Oh, fun. So like a sort of a mishmash between the Hunger Games and one of your very earliest shows. I forget the title. Town of Salem, I think is what it was called.
Well, that was like a game where you had to win the game.
Okay, but it's not just a game. The game is survival, but they are.
This is like it's about like Town of Salem was about like you winning this game thing, and these events are going to be about killing each other. All this. That's why one of the titles was Gore Sport.
Gore Sport.
Because it's all about, maybe one week it's everyone's in an actual Coliseum like Rome and they all have gladiator outfits on and they're fighting. That's like would be one season or something like that, right? That'd be one stretch of the games. But this season they're set on a Canadian island.
It's winter wonderland.
In the wintry wilderness. There's wolves, there's bears, it's cold. There's supplies all around the place, kind of like Hunger Games, but it's not like... It's like there's homes and stuff that have been abandoned, so you have to like go through them to see what you can find and stuff.
So you have to loot. It's not just a box full of food and guns and stuff. There's and you can build makeshift weaponry out of what you find. Even if you don't find anything useful, you find like a wooden spoon. You can sharpen it into a blade or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
There are a couple of guns, but guns are very rare in this.
And bullets even rarer.
Yes. So, all the prisoners, they have to worry about surviving, eating, building fires because it's really cold. But they also have to worry about each other and killing each other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone at home is just watching, like, the live stream. And I assume we'll have, like, if you're... well, in the U.S., we have Red Zone, which is, like, it's a TV show which shows, like, all the instant replays of the games and, like, all the highlights and stuff. So, like, all that kind of stuff. And I assume there'll be a talk show that does that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have commentators over the stuff.
Can we be the commentators?
I'll get into that.
You and me?
I was thinking so.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Maybe people that are funnier, that would be better.
Yeah, get some actually good talkers.
Good people, yeah.
People who speak for a living. Let's get them in.
All right.
Maybe we could have
it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we could have a funny little thing where, like, the adults are watching the like the red zone, with the commentators, and then you look at the kids, and they're watching the same games, but they're watching it like a Twitch stream, and there's just a little guy in the corner, and he's like, "Thanks, Dylan64 for your sub. You're pretty cool, man. He's really
like him reacting to it.
Yeah, man, he's really hitting him really hard with that rock. Whoa, guy's brains are everywhere." All right, you guys, you should totally use my discount link. All right, discount code Dylan69 at gfuel.com at checkout. You get the brand new flavor of G Fuel. I don't know any flavors of G Fuel. It's make up with dead prisoner brains. That's the
dead prisoner brains. That's the name of the flavor.
Yeah, tastes like strawberry.
Speaking of dead prisoner brains, the pilot.
Oh.
So our main character we're going to be following, her name is Cleo.
Mm-hmm.
She's like 18 to 20 years old. She's a bad kid. Like, she grew up as like just a all around not good person.
Yeah, she's been
constantly ran away from home, stole. Just not a good person.
Bullied.
And so she hangs out with not a very good crowd.
Yeah, as that typically tends to happen.
And so Cleo and a group of other similar aged kids, on the verge of being adults, but they're all maybe 17's a good age, actually. So they're not quite adults.
Yeah.
Are robbing a gas station convenience store. One of the kids has a gun. The other have little knives. We don't see the gun yet, so I shouldn't have told you that. But
oh no,
they all have knives. So we don't know there's a gun. You don't remove that from your head.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So they get into the 7-Eleven or whatever it is. On the TV, the Coliseum's gonna be playing, and the kids are gonna look at it, and they're not gonna be really interested because they're like, it's just a bunch of old people killing each other. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Maybe the fight on the screen this week is maybe it's the gladiator arena, or maybe it's people fighting in the jungle or something.
What if they have it's like a boxing match, but they have a bunch of knives taped to their hands? That's how it's done.
Do that, sure. That's the final fight, and so because the season's ending, it's the finale.
Yeah.
And so the kids are sort of interested because it's the finale, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
They're busy robbing and stuff.
Yeah.
So on the TV, that's playing, but they don't really care. Mm-hmm. And everything's going well. The kids are robbing the place, and as they're getting all the money from the counter, and the guy behind it's got his hands up, and he's just avoiding them and letting them do what they want. A cop walks in.
Oh God.
So everybody freezes, looks at the cop looks at them, very quickly realizes what's happening. As he's about to say something, one of the kids pulls out a gun. Cleo screams no, she obviously didn't know this kid had a gun.
Yeah.
And he shoots the cop.
Blast.
So things quickly have gotten very bad, because what was originally a practically unarmed robbery,
like a very typical,
has quickly become murder
of a cop, which they don't like.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So the kids all run except Cleo, who tries to help the cop.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's trying to stop the bleeding, and she's helping him because she's a bit shell-shocked because she didn't want to kill someone.
Yeah.
And where this goes from here is she saves the cop's life essentially by stopping the bleeding and helping him until the ambulance got there.
Mm-hmm.
But she goes to jail for attempted murder. And helping attempted murder.
No, yeah, I get it.
And she gets life.
Oof. So do you get life for just almost anything here in this universe?
Well, we'll explain shortly.
Oh, sorry.
Because that's weird. We're why does she get life? And she'll be upset in the courtroom when it happens. Why do I get life for this?
Mm-hmm.
And we cut to the studio of our two commentators after we'll hear them on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
In the convenience store.
Yeah.
Rick Frost and Eddie Smite, two high-energy announcers for the Coliseum. So Smite and Frost they just finished, and they're like, that was such a crappy game. No, this is like one of the worst seasons ever of this show. Like they're not on live TV anymore, so they can
talk shit and then be like, ugh, I wish they got those serial killers back. It was gross, but it added a little bit of spice to each episode.
Yeah, we're not getting any good criminals these days anymore.
It's just a bunch of pansies, a bunch of bedwetting mommy killers and baby killers. Come on, get some real monsters in there.
We need some real blood in here, yeah. So that's kind of when the head of engagement comes in and starts talking to them, and then they talk about how they need a younger talent pool because they're not attracting the youth audience. And so like Smite and Frost are like, yeah, sure, we'll sign off on it. And they're like, can we get someone in for the next season? Like, it's starting in a few days. I want this implemented like right away. And she's like, yeah, don't worry. We've talked with the judges. We've made sure we've got 15 under 25-year-olds in the next games. We're gonna really get the next people. So it's kind of implied that they're sort of bribing judges to give people life sentences to get them in the games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because originally when they start the games, you can think like they had a huge pool of people that have life sentences that can be in the games.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention the incentive to this. The longer you survive in the games, the more money, the bigger cash prize you get.
Oh.
So, if you die, there's 50 people, let's say. The 30th person will get, some money. But like the second to last person will get a ton of money.
Yeah.
Right? Because you survive all the way up to the end. And the last person, the person that survives, doesn't get any money, but they get pardoned.
All right.
So they don't die.
And
you're immediately set free.
And does the money that they get, after because the people who
goes to their family.
Yeah, it goes to their family. Okay, that makes sense.
So there's like an incentive to survive for longer because your family gets more money, and it's a lot of money. Like this is hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Maybe $1 million if you're getting second to last place. Right. So they definitely want it, and these people like they're gonna, they might be on death row, they might be got life or whatever. So, or I mean, they do have life or death row. So
yeah.
It's like they there's no point into them not doing
it.
They want to help their family. Like, why wouldn't they do this? And also they don't have a choice if you get picked, you're in it.
There could be a really impactful scene where a guy kills himself. He's second to last, and he's like, I made the $1 million.
What? With Charlie, let's just
sorry.
shut up real quick.
Sorry, you can cut that out.
Why do you think this shit is called Shoot Me Last?
I don't. I thought it was just a direction.
Well,
I thought you were directing a shot, and you were like, shoot me last, because you're in the shot also.
Nope. Let's just move on here.
Okay.
You might hear something like that similar in a little bit.
Just cut it out. It's fine.
No, I'll leave it in. Why not?
All right,
okay.
good.
So back to Cleo. She's in prison, and her cell neighbor is Victoria Wells. You don't need to remember her name because we didn't really see her that much. Her prison number 1164, Victoria Wells. By the way, Cleo got her number. She is 1177.
Oh.
So the way they're sort of like, it's like sports, right? They have a number on their back while they're in the games. And that's how people kind of remember them if they can't remember their first name. Yeah. So we got Victoria 1164 and Cleo 1177.
Maybe instead of having their last names like above the number, they have like their penitentiary. Right?
Yeah, like
dehumanize them a little bit more so people, stop feeling.
It could be the penitentiary on the front. It could be just like a sports jersey.
Yeah.
Penitentiary on the front, last name and number on the back, or just number, maybe.
Just number. Yeah, I think, because that's like, it removes the empathy, right?
I think it would be fun to design them like sports jerseys.
I think so too.
And maybe there's some incentive for certain prisons if they, like, their people get farther, So we could do a whole thing like that.
We have like a deal, and it's like, oh yeah, Louisiana State Penitentiary just signed on with EA Sports. They're going to be teaming up together to make the what's the game called? Just the
Coliseum.
The Coliseum,
the video
26.
game. Yeah, Coliseum 26. Yeah, that's what they could call it. That'd be a fun joke the commentators could make.
Yeah.
About like the new game that's coming out. Coliseum 26 coming out soon. It's the same as last year, but you'll buy it anyway.
It looks a wee bit better. All the names are changed, so it's worth
We updated the
$160 because everyone else died. Brand new list of players because all the other players are no longer with us.
Yep.
And a moment of silence for their in their memory. All right, moment of silence over. Let's go. This is just the quickest moment of silence you've ever heard.
Just 4 seconds long.
Yeah.
Victoria sort of explains like a little bit about what's happening, and she's like, you came at a bad time because they're picking prisoners for the Coliseum, but we should be all right since we're young. Obviously, we know that that's not going to be the case.
Nope.
Victoria, a little bit more details on her. She's kind of like a bit squirmy and hyperactive. She's a junkie.
Oh.
She's in jail for murder, but she can't remember like who she killed and why and what. Because she was on PCP or something like that. You know, one of those kind of drugs.
One of those drugs that makes your memory go funky.
Yeah. And but she like kind of means well. Like she couldn't hurt a fly, but obviously she can if she's high.
Yeah.
On whatever PCP, I guess.
Angel
one
dust,
of those, like,
baby.
Angel dust. One of those like ones that make people like eat faces and shit.
Yeah. Bath. What was it? It's bath.
Bed Bath and Beyond. Is that
Bath salts, isn't it?
Bath salts. That's where you buy bath salts. Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah.
That's a store. If you don't know.
I do know. The audience doesn't.
Well, I meant for the audience.
Nah, they can go fuck themselves.
I know you know.
I've taken you to Bed Bath and Beyond. It's where we bought our curtains.
It is.
Yeah.
For the room we're locked in.
The one room.
Yeah.
It's also where we bought our single plate that we share.
Yep. We share. It's a big plate.
It's a very big plate.
We got a divide. We got one of those like grocery dividers, like that you see on like the conveyor belts in grocery stores that people use to divide their groceries from like the next person's. It's the middle of our plate.
Exactly. It's good. It's a good system. And back to the show.
I don't think you've cleaned your half of the plate in years, but anyway.
I just lick it up. It's extra flavor. Duh, don't you know anything? Just a little bit of seasoning.
I don't know anything.
A little bit of seasoning on the bottom.
So they get pulled into the games, right? Didn't think they would, but they are. And not very happy about it, obviously. They're given a limited amount of food to start off with and warm clothes and are set loose in random locations on a northern Canadian island. The episode ends with Cleo fretting and struggling through the snow and weather until she finally makes it to an old abandoned cabin.
Yeah. And maybe there's a little bit of a... Is there a little bit of intrigue? Maybe the cabin's already got like some smoke coming out of the chimney, or maybe she closes the door to get into the cabin, and just as she does, we are a wide shot and we just see 1 foot, step in the snow next to her. Just a little bit of intrigue next to the cabin.
The idea, maybe it's just like a shitty place, because she's like, the idea is that the episode ends with her finally finding shelter. But, like, now she's in the game now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to set up anyone nearby, because it's not... I mean, we could, I guess, as, like, a tease or something, but there's no payoff, because there's not going to be anyone nearby for a little bit.
Okay. That's fine. Maybe it's a Yeti. Make it a Yeti.
Maybe the cabin, like, she gets in, and it's going to be all okay, and, like, there's a wolf outside or something.
That's good. I like that. A little bit of nature.
Wolf outside. She can hear the howling. That's the ominous thing.
Ooh.
Because there might be a wolf attack. Who knows?
Who knows?
I know, because I wrote it.
Hopefully.
Episode 2. Cleo turns the cabin to somewhat of a home, but, like, she doesn't really have that much food, and it's, like, she again doesn't have any tools to, like, fix stuff up or, like, chop any wood for a fire. And she's trying to grapple with her new reality of, like, fighting for her life and also trying to survive.
She finds a can of soup and just, like, spends half the day just hitting it with a rock trying to open it. And when she does eventually open it, it spills everywhere and she can't eat any of it. Yeah.
She's like sipping like the last third or fourth of it that's still in the can. Needs food. She's like listening to gunshots and insanity outside. She finds a radio, which she tunes into the commentary of the game. The radio, the only thing it goes into is the commentary. And so this is how we're going to hear the funny commentators.
Good.
Through the radio. And so she listens for a while, but she gets scared, from what they're talking about, and turns it off. And so she's cold, she's hungry, she needs to find stuff, so she leaves the home and she she wants to try to find another place where she can find food and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe tools or something. And she gets caught in a blizzard, and she's forced into a cave. And she's continually failing to make a fire over and over again. And just as she thinks she's going to die, she hears static on a radio, or on a walkie-talkie near her. And she finds it, and it's another player. His name's Greg.
Greg
is 1174.
Okay.
So they're pretty close in number because Cleo is 1177.
Yeah, all right.
Greg is a mid-30s handyman.
I thought you said nobody under the age of 25.
No, they got 15 people that are under the age of 25.
Okay.
There's 50 people in the game.
My bad, my misunderstanding.
So Greg, he's a mid-30s handyman. He doesn't tell her what I'm about to tell you right now. He'll tell her later, but I'll tell you now because it's relevant for his character, and I don't feel like scrolling up on this page again. The reason he's in jail and is in the games is because he shot his boss during a hunting trip.
Ooh. On purpose or
After
on accident?
finding out his wife was cheating on him and left him to have a kid with his boss, something she always said that she didn't want. She always said she never wanted kids, and he sort of just became okay with that, even though he did want kids.
Yeah.
And now she's having a kid with his boss, who she left him for.
And the boss is richer and handsomer and better looking and smarter and all that
better,
stuff.
like, in every way, right? And so he shoots him on a hunting trip. But Greg, like, he didn't mean to do it. If he claims he was an accident, because we'll see like a flashback at this moment, and for him, when he looks over in the scope of the rifle and shoots, he sees a deer. But as soon as he pulls the trigger, it's his boss.
It's a bout of temporary insanity.
Yeah, it's like his mind like convinced him to see it. Like he needed to see the deer so that he would do it, but he needed to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he's very conflicted about it, and he regrets it deeply, though.
Yeah. Maybe he was like a pacifist before that. You know.
Well, he's just a guy that wouldn't murder
a man,
which is most people.
I think if you put most people in front of the guy that stole their wife and had their dream life,
I wouldn't shoot him. Are you saying you'd shoot him?
If he stole the love of my life and decided to have the life I always wanted, yes, I'd shoot him right in the face.
Yeah. I don't think I would.
Well, that's the difference between you and me.
Added on to that, he's in his mid-30s too, so he feels like his life is over too. Like he doesn't have another shot at redoing it.
Yeah, he can't start again at 36.
He feels like he can't. I mean, he could.
He could, obviously, but he feels like he can't.
So, Greg's on the other line, and he also found a walkie, and he's been talking into it because he's like lonely and just wants to speak to someone. And thought maybe if they've got one walkie, surely there's another
somewhere around here.
And she talks to him on it. A little apprehensive at first, but she needs help making a fire. And he's a handyman and hunter, as he shot his boss
during the hunting trip.
Yep. And so he knows how to do stuff, and so he explains to her how to make a fire, and it saves her life.
Oh,
in episode 2.
That's nice. He's like, take the matches that are in your pocket and strike them against the bumpy side of the matchbox.
A little harder than that.
And then you have fire.
You gotta make kindling and stuff.
She's like, oh my god, how are you so knowledgeable?
Together.
Years of training.
Anyways, so Cleo in episode 3, Cleo and Greg are starting to get to know each other. He tells her to listen to the commentary, and she doesn't want to because it makes her upset, but he's like, you have to pay attention to it because it tells you where other people are, what people are doing, and helps you know how many people are left in the games as well. It's all really important information.
Yeah.
And so this is how we get Cleo to keep the radio on so that we can always hear the commentary of the funny people.
Of the funny boys. Us two boys, or maybe some other boys.
People that are actually funny, yeah.
Other funnier boys.
People, yeah. We'll write some of their jokes, but
yeah,
they're better.
They're better.
They are.
Better speakers.
Yep. Just like the boss. Just like Greg's boss.
Yeah.
Better.
Just better in every way.
The commentators are talking a lot about this guy. His name's Nkita. And his number is 1150. So, if you haven't noticed, there's 50 people in the games. Essentially, it's 1150 through
1200.
1200.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 1150. He's number 1, right? So that's his number.
All right.
That's cool. Anyway.
That's good. I like it.
And Kita, he's killing everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, the announcers are going crazy over this guy. Like, he's, a soccer player who scored 3 goals in a game. Or
he is the
he's
Messi
a football
of
player
murder.
who's got 4 touchdowns. He's like Messi for soccer. He's like Christian McCaffrey in football, or what's another example? I don't know.
Michael
Like
Jordan
that, right?
in basketball.
Okay. Maybe pick someone that's relevant today.
LeBron James in basketball.
Again, maybe pick someone that's relevant today.
That's LeBron James.
He's old, man.
He still plays.
He does still play, but he's old. I mean, so is Messi, too. I
Mate,
wouldn't have picked him
he's
either.
still
I
in
picked, like, Holland or
Space
someone.
Jam
Anyways,
2.
this doesn't matter. We don't need to talk about... Don't need to talk about sports.
Or Space Jam 2.
So, they're going crazy. They're like, oh my god, and Kita, he's so good. They're talking like
out
that.
of
that kinda
nowhere,
like,
he comes with the backhanded slap. And then, oh my god, he's picked up a rock. Oh my god. Squish.
yeah. Very, very tough
Yeah.
guy, whoever this dude is.
Well, right.
Starting to get scared of him,
Well, write better
that's
dialogue
episode.
for the commentators than them just saying OMG.
Or worse dialogue.
Or worse. We could definitely write worse dialogue than that. I believe in us.
So, she's starting to hear that. She finds another house. She gets a hatchet from it. So now she's got like a weapon/tool, which is good. Mm-hmm. And she begins like chopping up wood and starts to turn her cabin into like a better home as she finds more resources. Now that we have Greg on the other line, we're going to be cutting back between the two. So we're going to see Greg's life as well. Greg has a nice shelter. He found a revolver. So he's got like a real weapon.
Has he got bullets in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Full?
during the day, he runs into a wolf. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have like a nice scene of like the wolf stalking him, and he has the revolver, and he's like ready to use it. But he doesn't want to waste the bullets, so he ends up popping a flare, which is risky because, it reveals his location, but he doesn't want to waste the bullets because he only has 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? It would probably take 2 or 3 to kill the wolf, so
Wolves are
he
tough.
feels like it's more valuable to keep the bullets. Mm-hmm. So he pops the flare and scares the wolf away because wolves are scared of fire.
Yeah.
And so he gets away from the wolf. He tells her about it, and she's like coming back. And the episode ends with she gets attacked by a wolf as well.
Oh, no.
And almost dies, but she ends up killing it with her hatchet.
Nice.
So we have the fake out with Greg getting attacked by the wolf, but he ends up scaring it away. But she actually gets out of nowhere jumps. Like there's no build up.
Yeah.
His whole thing is like getting stalked over and over again. And he scares it away. And she gets jumped out of nowhere.
Maybe she sees the
wolf in her
smoke
face,
of the
hatchet.
Yeah.
Keep going. What are you saying?
I was saying maybe
Smoke?
she sees the smoke of the flare, like as he's telling her about it.
Oh, it's not going to be the same wolf because they're very far
Oh,
apart.
okay,
We'll get
my
into
bad.
it.
I thought it was the same wolf. I thought the wolf was gonna be the big bad of the show.
No. The big bad's and Kita. He's
Yeah.
the guy on the radio.
The big
obviously.
bad of the
We're
show
building him up,
is the people who did the Coliseum show, and then at the end it's revealed that the person who runs Coliseum Incorporated is the wolf in a suit.
It's the wolf. Yep, the wolf's in a suit.
It's like,
Well, then that person is dead because she uses the hatchet to like butcher this wolf in front of her. But she gets bit, obviously, and she's a little mauled up. And so she like crawls back to her little home, and Greg helps her patch up. But she stopped the bleeding, but she doesn't know if the bite's infected or what. She like doesn't. This could be a huge problem. She could die and she could get sick and stuff.
yeah, she should.
And then she's screwed over for the game.
She could have
But
rabies.
Greg has medicine. He has antibiotics.
Penicillin. Is penicillin used for that stuff?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not a medical guy. So the show ends like that. Like, she's almost died.
Yeah.
Gets back, patches up the blood. Episode 4. Cleo needs to find Greg so that she can recover from the wolf bite. And this episode is about them sort of struggling across the island to get to each other. They've sort of, this episode is like a lot of like mapping, trying to figure out, where each other are. And there's like one kind of big hill near the center, and they're making their way towards that to meet each other. it's a big island, so it takes a while for them to figure it all out. And so this is where they start learning a bit about each other's past, and this is where Greg tells her about why he's here, and like for killing his boss /
bull.
Yeah. And Cleo starts to get nervous, right? Because now she knows Greg is the guy that's murdered someone.
Mm-hmm.
In her head, this whole time, she's kind of been thinking that, she's kind of separated him from everyone else because he's been helping her.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, he didn't, he's probably innocent like I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't kill anyone. And now she realized, like, oh yeah, he is a bad person.
Maybe he can also find out her age.
Well, I think he already knows she's young,
okay.
Right? Because her voice is going to be younger.
Mm-hmm. But this,
and, like, when they first, like, talk by the fire, like, she has no idea what anything is.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you saying, though, about the age thing?
Well, I was just, like, he can just, like, assume she's, like, 25-ish. Or, like, 27. Because people's voices don't change that much from 17 to 27. And then she could be like, yeah, I was living with my mom, or, and she says something that indicates that she's not, an adult. He's like, how old are you? She's like 17. It's like, holy shit. What are you doing out here? You're a kid. And that's when we can have the moment where she gets suspicious of him, but he then, like, is, like, doubles down in his commitment to this person. Because this is a kid. Yeah. In his mind, this is a child. And, his life is over. He's past his prime. He's 36, the oldest anyone's ever been, and his life is pointless. But if he can,
the oldest anyone has ever been, 36. 36. No one's made it past that age.
Nope. And so in his mind, he can be like, well, if I die, that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? But if I'm able to get her, like if she's able to live, I will have been successful. Yeah. So we can have like an interesting like kind of a pull between their motivations, because she can be like, I'm not, I want to get this penicillin and go away because this guy's a fucking murderer. He's like, I can't let this girl go away, so I need to be with her. Like,
well, see, they're still coming towards each other though. She's not splitting off now. She's getting more nervous about seeing him, but she's not. She still needs to get to him because she needs the medicine, right?
Yeah, but she could be like, once she gets the medicine, I'm out. As soon as, I've got the medicine, I'm leaving. He's like, I'm staying with you.
Well, see, we're not going to get into that yet, because there's stuff that happens. Mm-hmm. So she's not explaining to him that what she's thinking about this. She's not saying, like, we just see that she's nervous about meeting him.
Yeah.
And the way she's talking.
Mm-hmm.
So in this episode, it's not just them, trying to find each other and like, wrestling with her wrestling with actually going to him because he might be bad.
Mm-hmm.
To heighten how he might be bad, he gets attacked by another person and has to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
In the process, he uses 2 bullets. Now he only has 1 bullet left.
Oh God. And maybe he doesn't say anything in the radio, but she listens to the commentary. And they're describing him.
Yeah, she hears that he's killed someone, yeah.
And he's like, oh, she's even more nervous now.
Maybe she asks him about it, and he says, like, he had to do it, and tries to argue it or something, but, still they're going to go to each other. Because she needs the medicine, and he wants to protect her. Cleo, during this, also finds a dead Victoria Wells, number 1164.
Oh, poor Victoria.
Her cellmate. She's just dead. She's got a crossbow bolt through her head.
Oof. Rough way to go.
Episode 5. After a long journey, they finally get together. But they're in like a little bit like of a town. It's like sort of a valley, and she's up on the hill, and he's down in the center. She's hiding up on the hill, and he's shouting around like, "Cleo, where are you, Cleo?" And he's like, she's talking on the radio. He's like, you said we'd meet here. I thought you should have been here before me. And she's hiding up in the hill because she's nervous, because she thinks that he might shoot her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's scared because he has a gun, right? And so Greg is trying to like let her, relax. And so he stands in the open. He puts his gun down to show he's friendly. And just as Cleo decides to go and meet him, a crossbow bolt goes through his head.
Oof.
Gets brutally, absolutely murdered.
Oh, right out of nowhere. I love it.
Yep. And she screams and runs to hide. Maybe a crossbow will come near her. And she ends up in a cave at night, making a fire. And on the walkie, she hears a voice. It's Ankita. Good. He picked up the walkie now.
Yeah, he's got the walkie
He's
and a
talking to
gun.
Yep. Only one bullet, but he's still got a gun. And the crossbow.
And a crossbow. And he seems like a lunatic, so that's an edge.
Seems like a lunatic. We'll get there. Ooh. So, episode 6. So we're getting near the end here. It's only episode 8 episode show. The explanations are getting shorter.
That's fine.
Episode 6. Cleo sneaks back out to where Greg is to get the antibiotics. During this, she runs into another player and she has to kill them with her hatchet. She cries. It's like, the first time she's ever killed someone. This is really rough on her.
Yeah.
And as she's hiding in the cave, taking the antibiotics, upset that she just killed someone, Ankita's taunting her because he found the body. And we'll cut back between them. So this is the first time we'll see him. He's over the body. He's the gun now, and he's like, he's like, you're just like me now. You thought you were better than me or whatever last night, or because she was like, talking about how evil he is, and he's like a bad person. He's like, you're just as bad as me. You killed this poor girl or guy or whatever.
Yeah, poor girl. Do you know that she's 15? He just drops.
Okay, maybe
he drops a bomb on her.
The girl that she killed.
Yeah, was a child. Was a literal child.
I was kind of having her be the youngest person in it.
Okay.
So maybe it's like. I don't know.
Well, at the beginning you said under 25, so I just figured it was anyone under the age of 25. Like
yeah.
They'll put a baby
in my
in
head.
there.
She's the youngest person there, so we can justify her as like the best option to survive.
Yeah.
And she's innocent as well, so that gets there.
It's good
as well. So she's obviously upset about the taunting. But she's trying to like get over it. She just murdered someone. She's a little tougher now, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of this, this is really hits her hard. But at the end of this, she is a little tougher because she's killed someone. She's she can handle herself with the hatchet.
This is the end of the second
7.
arc. Episode 6 is the end of the second part of the story. She's at the main character's at their lowest. They rise themselves up.
Now she's getting this is the rise here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the lowest might be on this episode. We'll see in a second here. Episode 7. So we've been scared about wolves and other people. There's something to be more scared about than other people, and guns and wolves, and that's a bear.
Oh no!
In this episode, she gets stalked by a grizzly
bear. Bears
are
fucking scary, man.
And she gets chased into a home, and it's absolutely destroying everything. And in the home, she finds a rifle. And this is going to be an awesome scene where she grabs the rifle. It comes through the door. She's, like, laying on her back, facing it. And she, like, pumps, like, 8 bullets into this bear. And it's like a bolt action. So she's, like, really cranking the bolt back and forth really quickly.
Yeah.
And just before the bear gets her, it, like, falls on top of her and dies.
Oof.
And so we got like this, rough scene where she's like trying to crawl out from this enormously heavy bear that's on top of her.
All the blood from the bear, like all the gunshot wounds, is dripping all over her, and she's like, she's gonna throw up. She's
probably crying and like upset. I mean, who wouldn't when you got a dead bear?
I would
on top
cry,
of you?
so I would just lie down and die. I wouldn't move at all.
Yeah, just die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so as she's, last second she kills it. In this episode, we're also going to learn Ankita's going to kill someone. And for his, we'll say it's his 30th kill or 20th kill or something. He's really, it's like the most in the Coliseum history.
Yeah.
And for doing that, he gets a gift from like the announcers and from like the play runners. And he gets a Skype call or whatever, like a Zoom or a FaceTime with his family back home. And you can see like his wife and his daughter. And he learns his daughter is really sick.
Oh.
And they can't afford it, and they're like, she's like, you need to win as soon as possible because, you know, I need you back here to help me with her, and I need someone else working so that we can get enough money to pay for her surgery or treatment or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So now he's got even more incentive to get back home to his family so he can help his daughter.
That's good. I like that. It's a little bit of a humanizing moment for this guy who's been just a total monster the entire show.
Yeah, so we can see, like, why he's so committed to winning, right? Is that he needs to, you know, get back to his family.
Yeah. If this were another if this were another kind of media, like a video game or something, he would be the protagonist. He's got, you know, relatable, sympathetic goals, you know, and he's a total badass. But that's not this kind of show. This kind of show is a young woman just, like, being covered in blood and tears and snot and probably some of her own vomit underneath of a bear.
Yeah.
Which I love.
That she just killed.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So, pretty cool. Episode 8, the final episode. With the rifle and her newfound confidence after killing a bear and a person, she prepares for the final round. The commentators declare that whoever captures the flag on Moose Hill's watchtower wins the game. So it's this big, like, fire watchtower.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking like those really big ones with, like, the staircase that wrap around them, and, like, the top is like a room you could live in. So that's where the flag is, and they all have to get there to get it. And whoever gets the flag first wins. And the commentators, you know, they say that, like, in a big, you know, like, they got drones with, like, big speakers on them that blare throughout the whole place. And the way the show sort of concludes is she's in a long, drawn-out battle with Ankita and the other remaining contestants, which ultimately ends with Ankita killing almost everyone except for one or two that Cleo kills. And she's running up the watchtower, and she finally gets to the top. A bolt goes through her shoulder.
Oof.
And she's, like, bleeding, like, just out of arm's reach from the flag. And he's right in front of it, and he sort of pushes her away from it. And this is the moment where we see him debating, because the announcers are talking, and you can hear it on the radio. They're talking about how much money Cleo's family is about to get. They're going to get, like, $5 million, something like that, or $10 million, because the show has had, like, crazy ratings, and the prizes are based off the ratings.
Yeah.
So it's a ton of money. And Nikita, he's won. The flag's right there. But if he picks that flag up and he grabs it, or he shoots Cleo, one or the other, like, to kill her, it's over. You know, he wins the game. He gets to go free.
But he gets no money.
He doesn't get the money. And in that call, we'll sort of talk about, like, he'll sort of argue with his wife and, like, I couldn't, you know, even if I came back, we wouldn't even be able to help her in time. And so he's debating this, right? In his head. And seemingly mistakenly, but actually purposefully, he leaves Greg's revolver close by to her on the ground. Like, he puts his stuff down, and the revolver is, like, really close to her on the ground. And he's, like, debating this. And he's like, you know, he's like, you know, he's kind of seemingly decides that he's going to grab it, but she picks up the revolver and shoots him.
Blam.
And she wins the game and lives.
Right through the chest.
And the idea here is that, like, he puts the revolver close to her because he can't make that decision himself. He knows it's the right decision to get his family the money, but he can't decide. Like, he can't bring himself to kill himself.
Yeah, maybe we can also have a rule that, like,
that.
Suicides mean that the prizes are forfeit, because that would be pretty boring.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Because that's the idea I wanted. I wanted the person that should win has to lose because they want to help someone. Like, they have to get the prize of the monetary prize.
Yeah.
And so he to justify it in his head, because he can't bring himself to actually he can't, you know, bring himself to make that decision, or we have the suicide rule. Either way, he puts that gun near her.
Yeah.
Almost subconsciously, but, like, on purpose, like he's doing it so that she can kill him and win.
All right.
That's how the show ends.
We could have a cool final shot where they're just, you know, they're in the top of the watchtower, the flag is sitting, you know, in between them, and they're both leaning up against like the opposite walls of the, you know, little cabin at the top of the watchtower. You know, the snow is starting to like the snowfall's starting, and it's like coming in through the broken, shattered windows, and they're both just bleeding profusely as she's, you know, got this bolt in her shoulder, he's got this massive hole in his chest, and they're just both sitting there just breathing heavily, you know, and they look up at each other and they share one knowing glance, you know, and then we slowly zoom out of the window and then, you know, out of the town and then just, you know, into white.
Maybe we could get like, because it'd be hard to explain. Maybe he could say something to her about like how he kind of wanted her to do it or something like that. It'd have to be really well written for it not to feel like you're explaining something very obvious to the audience.
Yeah. But I also think silence
something that's like, you know, like his wife's gonna get the money. That's good. Maybe a shot after that would show his wife and daughter getting the money would help reveal that, like, as to why he did it.
Or he could just be like,
without just him explicitly saying,
you know, you just saved my little girl, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, there should definitely
tell my little girl I love her or something like that. That's his last word. And if you didn't notice, that revolver, by the way, is the same revolver Greg had, which only had one bullet left. So that was the final bullet that he had. Remember, he had 3 bullets. 2 shot the wolf, 1 shoots the bad guy to win the game.
Shoot me last.
Shoot me last. That's the show.
I liked it a lot. That was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And what would be the final song that played over the ending?
I think we've done this before, but I suggested it to you, so I'm just gonna do it again. It's called "The Lion's Roar" by First Aid Kit.
Oh yeah, it's right here.
That's the song. It should be in the little chat that we have going here, but that's the song that play at the end.
All right, cool.
It's got sort of like a nice sort of folksy, but like ethereal tune to it, which I think
some
would make
somber
it nice.
Melancholy, you know.
That's the show.
Yeah, well,
I think it's fun. If, you know, there was another season, it'd be all new characters, whole new environment.
yeah. Maybe we would just see
That kind of
like, we would see her like on a TV screen, you know, in like one scene. Whole new environment, whole new show.
The next show.
Yeah, whole new rules, all that stuff. And she's like going on.
They interview like old winners or something like that, and we see like some who are like actually interested in the interview and like want to talk about how their game was, and she's like, "No, fuck you. I don't want to be on this.
Yeah.
Got it. Like, I don't want to talk about this. It was like a traumatic experience. Get out of my yard.
Get out of my yard. That's what she says since she's in a TV studio. They're like, what? Get out of my yard.
Yep.
Yeah, well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, and navigator, Jacob Cloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat, and always remember to wash behind the ears and be nice to small children, unless those small children are little pricks. And then you can be as mean as you like.
No. Be nice to kids.
Nah. Have a good one.